There is a forgotten truth buried beneath centuries of fear and misunderstanding, a truth that Carl Jung understood but rarely dared to say aloud. It is the hidden journey of the soul after the tragedy of a lost pregnancy. This is not merely a story of sorrow or grief, but a revelation of purpose, a cosmic design that Jung hinted at through his study of the collective unconscious and the transcendent function. If you have ever wondered what becomes of a life that did not make it to Earth, today you will understand how Jung's deepest psychological insights and the astonishing revelations of Edgar Cayce converge into a single, transformative truth. Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." Yet what if the soul itself was guiding us through the very experiences we label as misfortunes? What if the loss of a child was not an accident, but part of an archetypal pattern, a sacred agreement made beyond the veil of consciousness? In the readings of Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, we find echoes of Jung's concepts, the individuation process, the integration of opposites, and the hidden self communicating through symbols and dreams. But in these cases, it is not just the living psyche speaking, it is the unborn soul reaching out to complete its own destiny. In 1943, a mother from Norfolk, Virginia, devastated after losing her child at 7 months, turned to Edgar Cayce. During reading JW 28541, something extraordinary happened. The spirit of her unborn child spoke, not in vague symbols but with precise words, telling her, "I am not lost, mother. I am more alive than you can imagine." Jung would call this a manifestation of the transcendent function, the bridge between conscious suffering and unconscious meaning. This communication revealed that what the mother perceived as death was in fact the birth of a new spiritual guide, an archetype of the guardian, forged through shared suffering and transformed through love. Cayce's readings describe in remarkable detail how souls connect gradually to the body during pregnancy, mirroring Jung's belief that the psyche evolves through stages and layers. Just as individuation is a gradual integration of the conscious and unconscious, the soul's descent into the physical form is not instant, but unfolds through the months. And when this journey is interrupted, Jung would argue, the experience is never in vain. It becomes absorbed into the greater self, the totality of being that transcends life and death. The archetype of the child, central in Jungian psychology, is not merely symbolic, but an active, living force. In Cayce's readings, unborn children describe their brief time in the womb as a sacred preparation, a schooling in human love and limitation. "My time with you was my training," one spirit communicated. "I am now your protector, preparing for the next chapter of our journey." This aligns with Jung's concept of the self-orchestrating experiences to bring wholeness. The loss, as painful as it is, catalyzes a deeper connection with the divine purpose, transforming grief into spiritual guardianship. Consider the case documented as LRA 13683, where a woman whose pregnancy ended at 22 weeks asked, "What happened to my baby's soul?" The response was not sorrow, but revelation. The spirit revealed specific details only known to the family, demonstrating consciousness beyond physical death. Jung spoke of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that reveal the interconnectedness of all things. In these readings, synchronicity takes form as the spirit reveals secret moments, private tears, and hidden lullabies. These are not coincidences, but living proof of the psyche's continuity beyond death. In several Cayce readings, multiple spirits communicated after miscarriages, explaining how their brief lives served to awaken love, expand compassion, and accelerate spiritual growth. Jung taught that suffering is not meaningless, it is the crucible in which the individual becomes whole. Every tear shed by these parents, every dream they had for their unborn children, became part of a cosmic alchemy, transforming personal grief into collective healing. These souls, Cayce explained, enter what could be called Jung's archetypal realm, the in-between space, rich with symbols and universal experiences, not to be lost, but to continue their development and serve as guides and protectors. One reading described a spiritual realm filled with what Jung would recognize as archetypal imagery, cities of light, beings of wisdom, children learning alongside spiritual teachers. Jungian psychology teaches that these archetypes are not just symbols but energies, living realities within the collective unconscious. Cayce's descriptions confirm this. Unborn souls dwell in these realms, gathering knowledge, and becoming advanced healers and guides for humanity. In reading H2392, 3 spirits who had been lost in consecutive pregnancies revealed their brief journeys were part of a spiritual agreement made before incarnation. Jung would describe this as the manifestation of the self, aligning individual destiny with the greater collective evolution. These spirits spoke of pre-birth agreements, karmic balancing, and soul evolution, themes Jung explored through his studies of Eastern philosophy and the concept of the unused mundus, the one world where all things are interconnected. The grieving process, often dismissed by modern psychology as something to be overcome, becomes in these readings a spiritual initiation. Jung viewed initiatory experiences as necessary for individuation, the journey toward wholeness. Cayce's readings show how pregnancy loss, though tragic, can awaken dormant spiritual gifts, catalyze healing, and transform ordinary lives into profound spiritual missions. One spirit explained, "Your grief built a bridge. Through that bridge, I returned to guide you." This is the individuation process in motion. Suffering transcended into service, loss transformed into eternal connection. These truths lead to a question only you can answer. Are you ready to see your grief, your sorrow, and your past losses not as punishments, but as invitations to a deeper journey of the soul? This is not just a theory. This is a living experience, repeated across hundreds of documented cases, where the love you gave, even for a short time, becomes a light guiding not only your child's spirit, but your own evolution. We will explore more astonishing cases, Jung's prophecy about the return of the sacred child archetype, and how these revelations can transform your personal journey. If your heart is ready for healing, your soul is ready to awaken. If you've ever felt the invisible presence of a child you never held, if you've sensed an unseen hand guiding you during moments of despair, pay close attention. You are not imagining things, you are awakening to continue this healing journey. Don't miss the next part. If this resonates with you, I invite you to reflect on your experiences in the comments below. Your story could be the light someone else needs to find their way. ****. If you've ever felt the invisible presence of a child you never held, or sensed a quiet whisper guiding you in your darkest moments, know this: you are not alone. To affirm this sacred connection, comment below. Love never dies, it transforms. Your words may bring peace to someone else walking the same path. And when your heart is ready, continue with us on this journey. The next chapter awaits you. There is a hidden wisdom in the quiet moments when grief softens into reflection, when the cries of the heart give way to a deeper inner knowing. Carl Jung believed that within the unconscious lies not only our wounds, but also our salvation, the keys to transcendence. The messages revealed in Edgar Cayce's readings are not isolated phenomena. They are manifestations of the archetypal world Jung spoke of, where each human experience, even the sorrow of losing a child, contains the seeds of spiritual rebirth. In the sacred realm, Jung called the collective unconscious, symbols arise to guide us toward wholeness. Cayce's accounts reveal how souls who leave before birth remain active forces within this archetypal world, becoming symbols of hope, renewal, and transformation for their families. These are not passive memories, they are living energies, what Jung described as autonomous complexes within the psyche, returning in dreams, signs, and synchronicities to guide the living toward individuation. Multiple readings recorded parents receiving messages through dreams or subtle signs, a rainbow after days of crying, a butterfly landing softly during moments of grief, or a sudden feeling of peace amid sorrow. Jung would recognize these as synchronistic events, where the outer world mirrors the deep inner healing occurring within the soul. Every dream, every sign, becomes part of the individuation journey, where grief transforms into meaning, and sorrow unveils a greater destiny. In the case documented as Sati, 26,289, a mother who had endured a tragic loss discovered her own hidden spiritual gifts in the aftermath. The spirit of her unborn child revealed that their brief connection was not just about life and death, but about awakening dormant abilities, the clairvoyant sight, the healing touch, the wisdom to comfort others. Jung taught that individuation involves reclaiming lost parts of the self, and these readings show how the experience of loss can serve as the crucible where these hidden parts are reborn. Even more astonishing, Cayce's readings spoke of unborn souls forming groups, clusters of spiritual allies who work together across lifetimes. fulfilling missions that extend beyond a single incarnation. Jung, through his exploration of ancient myths, understood this instinctively, the archetype of the soul group, of the collective hero's journey, where individuals are never truly alone, but connected by invisible threads to their soul tribe. In these accounts, the lost children were not lost at all. They were Waishowers, preparing the way for future generations, strengthening family lineages, and even influencing the destiny of humanity itself. Jung believed that humanity would one day reconnect with the wisdom of the archetypal world, that we would come to understand the profound meaning behind the cycles of life and death. Cayce's final readings echoed this prophecy, describing a future where science and spirituality would no longer be divided, where the grief of pregnancy loss would be seen not as meaningless tragedy, but as a sacred initiation into higher awareness. In this sacred understanding, each parent who grieves becomes a spiritual initiate, each tear a step toward greater consciousness. As we move through this transformative age, we see Jung's vision unfolding, people awakening to the deeper realities of the soul, breaking free from the materialistic illusions of modern life. The children who left too soon are part of this awakening. They are the bearers of light, the unseen architects of the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Their brief presence catalyzes a deeper love, not only within individual families but across the collective psyche of humanity. Perhaps your own life holds these hidden initiations. Perhaps the moments you called your darkest were in truth the first steps toward your awakening. Carl Jung taught that the greatest treasures lie in the places we fear to look, and in the silence of loss. Many have found a strength they never knew they possessed, a clarity of purpose that transforms not only their own lives, but the lives of others. Now, you stand at a crossroads. You can choose to turn away from this deeper calling, to bury your pain and continue life unchanged. Or, you can embrace the invitation to rise, to heal, to understand your grief as a doorway to the sacred, as a living testimony to love's endurance beyond death. If your heart hears this calling, honor it. If your soul stirs with recognition, embrace it. And if your spirit yearns for connection, share it. Comment below, "My grief awakened my purpose." Your words may unlock the healing someone else desperately needs. And if you are ready to journey deeper into the hidden truths of the soul, stay with us. More revelations await you, and you are destined to hear them.